Welcome back to another episode of Technology for Independence with Christopher Cooley. Today he's going to be interviewing another Ohio Tech Ambassador, Renee Wood. So stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Technology for Independence with Christopher Cooley. Today, Christopher is going to be talking with another Ohio Tech Ambassador, Renee Wood. Chris, it's always a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Patrick, for having me again. On here today, I have Renee Wood with me, and she's going to talk about Ohio Tech Ambassador Program and a little bit about herself. She is one of the oldest tech ambassadors. And so if anybody wants to get a hold of her, they could go to the website, www.ohiotechambassador.org, and you can see a button that says request a ambassador, tech ambassador. And you could go down to her name and request her to come back and talk a little bit more if you have questions. So let's get over to Renee and let her take over and tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with Ohio Tech Ambassador.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me on here today.
You're welcome.
I've been around for a while. I've done all kinds of things in the state of Ohio for people with disabilities. A couple of years ago, I applied for the tech ambassador job because I used technology ever since I was young. Because I was born with cerebral palsy, so I always needed something to assist me. First, it was a walker. No, actually, first, my mom and dad said they had a device that they put on my stomach so I could crawl, because I couldn't crawl. So they had something with wheels on it, I guess, that they put me over so I could move my arms and legs and get around in the house. I don't remember that, but that's what they tell me. So that was my first experience with technology. But the one I remember was my walker. Because once I got in my walker, I could move all over the place. So that was the beginning of my experience with technology. Like my second real experience with technology was a typewriter. Because I could not write in school. So I needed to find a way to type. And at the time, my hands did not work that well. So they put a stick on my hand, like a headband with a stick on it so I could poke the typewriter with a stick. These are all low-tech solutions. But at the time, it was the 1960s. So they didn't have a lot of high tech, except for typewriters. I then went on to college, and in college I couldn't take notes, so I had to use a tape recorder. But as you know, with a tape recorder, you gotta listen to the whole lecture over again. And I got tired of doing that because it was bad enough listening the first time. The second time it was like, oh my God. So I came up with a better solution. I bought some of that copy paper where you put the paper in between two sheets of paper and it makes a copy of what you're writing. So I bought a bunch of that and I gave it to that person who was sat by me. And when they took their notes, they took my notes too. That way I didn't have to listen to the lecture all over again. I just had notes, which was very helpful. That was the first time I went to college when I was in my 20s. The second time I went to college, I was in my 40s. And it was a whole new world. Because they had all kinds of technology that they did not have in my 20s. So I can see okay, but because of my cerebral palsy, my eyes don't move very fast. So I can't read real fast. So when I got that that text, that speech, I could read real fast. I went from a C student to a straight A student because of that technology.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is great. Renee, while you were in school and then in college, etc., how did people treat you? You know, you have cerebral palsy, which is, and maybe you can describe it more in detail, but it doesn't allow you to speak clearly or to move easily. How do people treat you?
Well, I'm comparing to in my younger years, I was a novelty because in the 1970s, you didn't see too many people like me in college. So because I was a novelty, everybody thought I was a genius or something. But I was not. I was just your average student. But I had to say because of that, I think people treated me better because they thought I was there because I could do it, They really thought I was there because I was something special. But the second time I went to college, I was just an average Joe, which was okay too. I didn't like sticking out. I mean, you all got these professors, like, the first time I went to college, I know there were a couple professors that doubted I could do the work, but once I showed them I could do it, the second time, I remember this one professor, he was trying to be too accommodating by saying, "Oh, don't worry if you don't get it done in time. We'll make it up." No, I can get it done in time. I'm fine. So it was more trying to teach them that I was okay.
I think that's very important because most of the time people fear things that they don't understand.
Mm.
And once you teach them and that it's okay, then they become your friends.
I had a lot of fun in college. I even had a lot of professors. I mean, one professor I would go out and have a meal with, and we would talk about stuff. So I had a lot of fun in college.
I know that you're married.
Yeah.
How did you meet your husband?
Through technology, we met over the internet.
Ah, very good.
That's a long story, but basically I broke up with another guy, and I met my future husband, the next day on the internet.
Huh.
We've been together for 23 years now.
So Renee, tell us a little bit about the Ohio Tech Ambassador Program and the things that you talk about in your daily life right now to help individuals.
Well, the Ohio Tech Ambassador was created by the Department of Developmental Disability. It's a grant program, and it was developed to promote technology for people with disabilities, because technology is a way of making people independent and less reliant on somebody come in your home and help you. We'll always need somebody to come in our home, but people are happier when they have less people in their home. So that was a win-win situation. But right now in my life, I use a lot of technology. I got stuff on my computer that helps me type. It's like I use my mouth. I actually use my mouth to type with an on-screen keyboard because I have trouble hitting the keys on the keyboard. So that's one technology I use. The other big one is my power chair. You saw my power chair, right, Chris? You saw my power chair, right?
Yes.
It does all kinds of stuff, So it's really high tech. And it took me a long time to get it, but now that I got it, it can help me transfer I can lay down in it if I have to. So just all kinds of things. And the other thing that helped me is my smart home. All my lights are hooked up to it. My thermostat is hooked up to it. My TV is hooked up to it. Just all kinds of things are hooked up to it. And that really is convenient not to have to ask people to turn on the light. Like me and my husband getting fights over the thermostat because he wants it colder, I want it hotter. So now I don't gotta ask him. I can just do it.
Right. It's awesome. It's awesome to know that, now we have Alexa, we have smart home, to be able to connect things together in our homes and help us. When the creators made the technology, I want to believe that they made it for the average person. They didn't know that it was going to blow up in the disability community and be a great access to people with disabilities, so they can, live independently and be able to do things independently, just being safe. And having those technologies are a great big help to everyone in our lives. You're talking about your chair. I really like it because it does a lot for you. You lay back, you can stand up, you can, turn around, and it helps you be able to stay independently. If you need to reach something on a counter, you have your chair that will raise up for you to reach that. And not a lot of people have that opportunity. They have to figure out other ways to be able to do what you can do. And so it's really awesome to hear about those, because there may be somebody out there struggling and someone that may not understand how to be independent. And hearing your story helps us be able to understand that no matter what, we can live independently. You went through school, you went through college, and that's amazing.
Renee, do you have a service animal?
No, I do not.
Would a service dog or animal help you?
Well, I thought about that, but, you gotta clean up after out in the yard, and you gotta take it to the vet every so often, and you gotta feed it, and that's gonna be more trouble than what it's gonna do for. Not that I don't like animals, don't get me wrong, but as a service animal, I just couldn't see the cost benefit ratio.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you drive? Do you rely on your husband to drive you around?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I forgot. We have an accessible van. I guess that's technology too.
Yeah.
Forgot about that, yeah.
And I would assume that it has a wheelchair lift for you to get into and out of the van.
Yep.
And it has controls, hand controls.
No, my husband don't need anything.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Having a accessible van, it could be in different variants of sizes and shape. Some may just need the wheelchair ramp to be able to get their wheelchair inside, or be able to have that extra help to get in. And some may just use and need the ramp and the controllers. to be modified. And it's so awesome to see those things, to see a van that's modified, for somebody like that can, be independent and drive their own around town and do things independently. And, that brings back a memory. I have a friend that is legally blind, and he's able to drive his car with a binocular, which the binocular goes in the best eye that he has, and he could be able to drive with that binocular. And so when we pull in to this into this parking lot, and we both get out with our white Kings, and everybody's like, what did we just see? Two blind people getting out, and he was driving.
Well, I know that you're involved very actively with the Ohio Tech Ambassadors. What are some things that you do with the Tech Ambassadors program?
Well, mostly I do things like I'm doing now. I talk to people about technology and how it helped me advise people on, like I do a consultation if they want some help to be more independent. I try to listen to them and figure out what they might need if I was technology to help them do what they want to do.
Oh, very good. So if someone were to email you or contact you, you would be willing to sit down with them either on Zoom or face-to-face. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
And what area in Ohio do you live?
I live in Lucas County in Toledo.
Very good.
Which is the northwest part of Ohio.
You've lived there all of your life?
Correct, yes.
Very good. Well, with just a couple minutes left, are there some things you want to share with the listening audience that you haven't mentioned yet?
I know that there's some fear out there about technology. I just want to say, you cannot break technology. It may not work, but you can't break it. So don't be afraid to try it. And I guess also I want you to be curious to figure things out for yourself. Because that's the best way to learn, is to sit down and figure it out for yourself. If somebody tells me how to do it, I'm like, just give me that. Let me try it myself.
Chris, you have a really good organization in the Tech Ambassadors. And is there anything you want to add to what Renee had mentioned?
She was talking earlier about voice to text. That is a great option on iPhones and some Android phones. It's really good to know that, we have those options on our iPhone to be able to use and help us get along in the world on our own. And so she mentioned about a wheelchair, and, I want to just say thank you, Renee, for being here and sharing your story, because that's what matters. Sharing your story is going to help other people in our communities all around the world that may be afraid to try something, may not have the courage to be independently. But by hearing your story, we're hoping that it helps others in their life and their daily living. And they, if they see you, they'll know that if you could do it, I can do it. And if you could be married for 23 years, then I could be married for 23 years.
We're talking with Chris Cooley, Technology for Independence, in which it's been our fortune to speak with Renee Wood, Ohio Tech Ambassadors Program. Thank you.